Yesterday's big adventure was my boss doing the very, very long meeting. I had to stay an hour after work so that he could explain to us how we all needed to be on the same page and other sportsy metaphors. Today, he came to me and said, "Hey, dog, 18 left, right? That's the guy who never came out of his room?" "Yeah." "Well, I don't see that in the book." My boss used to be a CO in another state and insists that we keep a logbook. And the logbook seems to be... It seems to be that he wants me to write down every event that happens. And I don't have the time to do this. Also, I don't think we have to do this, nor do I think it's going to do any good. Every time he comes and tells me that I have to write down other stuff, I go back through the book and look through it and find that my other fellow co-workers are not writing stuff down in the book that he's asking me to write down in the book. And rather than be like a petulant child, it just makes me wonder. I'm starting to think that maybe one of the reasons he makes me do so much stuff is because I make an effort to. I think maybe if I just employ the weird guy with the gum scraper defense. There was this guy at a fast food place one time, and he got caught not scraping the gum. And the boss was like, "Hey, didn't I tell you to scrape all the gum?" "Yeah." "What'd you do?" "I scraped all the gum." "Okay, well then how do you explain there's all this gum on the bottoms of the table?" "Oh. Well, it must be fresh gum. They must have put it on there after I scraped the gum." This was a blatant lie, and I'm not sure the manager knew what to do with it. He just stared at the guy. Go make fries or something. I'm going to count that as a win for the gum scraper guy. I honestly think he could have, maybe come up with something better, but it seemed to work. I don't know. The fact that this guy didn't come out of his room for 3 weeks was something that was noted by custody and medical. He would not come out for doctors, he would not come out for drugs, he would not come out for anything. They finally drug his ass out and wiped him down with adult napkin wipes. Yeah, pretty much baby wipes for adult butts. And he stunk the whole place up for not showering for like 3 or 4 weeks. So 2 days ago he was transferred out. I don't know what the reason was, but he left. We were not sure if we should get an exorcist, try to clean the place with flamethrowers, or just do the regular cleaning twice. It was quite horrible. And the guy had dreadlocks, which meant he shed like he shaved a small dog in there. It was really quite gross. So my boss coming to me and telling me, "Hey, I noticed that guy's not in that room." I expected him to say something like, "Hey, that room doesn't stink like a dead ostrich. Good job. You guys did a real thorough job and it smells great." No, what he said was, "Hey, I don't see it written in the book." Now my way of thinking about that is pretty simple. I pointed out that, according to the custody people, the dude never came out of the room. According to the medical people, he never came out of the room. According to me, he never came out of the room. However, every time somebody who was not me was working, they checked that we went inside and cleaned his room. This has happened before. And the last time this happened was when a guy killed himself successfully. And they did an audit of everything. And they were, up into, including like the dietitian. Could you have given him more brownies? Could that have done it? Would he maybe have not killed himself if he had more carbs? So they were checking everything, including, as I said, the dietitian. Like, did he get enough carbs? Is that possibly why he killed himself? So they did notice the anomaly of every single person in the place saying, hey, that one depressed dude, he never came out of his room for anything. Doctors, bathroom, nothing. Never came out. Never would leave his room. And then according to our paperwork, there were several times, all of which when I wasn't there, that apparently he changed his mind, allowed us to go into his room and clean it, while he was escorted out of his room by custody, in handcuffs, which he would never do. To say that it was embarrassing is an understatement. However, that was another one of those little meetings where they talked about it, they showed us the paperwork, he demanded us to explain it, and I didn't have anything to say. And he said, hey, how come you don't have anything to say? And my response was, I'm looking at this paperwork and it seems like I said he never came out of his room. So, looks like I did what I was supposed to. They're like, well, we're a team and, we rise together, we fail together, so it's still your failure. And at that point, I just laughed and went back to what I was doing. My point in showing him the paperwork and pointing this out to him was that people are not doing their job. They're just what they call pencil whipping the paperwork, which means cooking the books. Fraudulently just writing stuff down. There's a tremendous amount of pressure for us to get everything completed all the time. We're short-staffed, we don't have enough inmates, and some people are just checking boxes because it's easy. And that's what I pointed out to him. And his response to that is to demand that I write down when the guy leaves to cover us somehow. And I don't understand how that's supposed to work. Like, look, man, I really think that the correct course of action here, if you don't mind me saying, is that you do your frickin' job as our supervisor and actually start supervising us to do the right thing. If we go into a room and we clean it, then we check it off. If we don't clean it, then we don't check it off. And just be okay with that. Hey, I would like you to clean all the rooms, but if you don't clean the room, then don't do it. The part that is particularly irksome to me is that I had a 10-minute conversation with an argumentative inmate about not doing that exact same thing while my coworker was in the room. So apparently me talking for 20 minutes about how important this was did not apply to him.